What is a fun fact that you would like to share for no apparent reason whatsoever? The blanket octopus is immune to the sting of the Portuguese man-o'-war jellyfish. As a defensive measure, males and immature females of the species will rip the trailing tentacles off of the man-o'-war and wrap them around themselves like a garland. They experience one of the most extreme cases of sexual dimorphism in nature, with the female reaching up to 6.5 feet in length, and the males reaching 2.5 centimeters. To mate, the male tears off a specialized arm filled with semen and gives it to the female, who stores it under her mantle for later. The male then dies. Jesus. Imagine going through puberty and just all of a sudden having the urge to tear your arm off and give it to some giant woman. The reason train tracks have gravel beds is so that the vibrations from the train rumbling across doesn't damage the structural integrity of the tracks. The gravel allows for safe flexing and shifting of the foundation. Also, drainage for water helps stop pooling and erosion. If the star Rigel in the constellation Orion were as close to us as the star Sirius, 8.6 light years away, it would be as bright as the moon and would cast shadows at night. I wish we had more moon stars. A queen bee goes on only one mating flight in her life. Shortly after she hatches, she'll mate with around 12 drones, who all die after mating. Their penises explode off. Kinda. She can store the sperm and use it to fertilize selected eggs for up to 7 years, though the average natural queen lifespan is around 4 years. John Brozink, considered the best arm wrestler of all time, broke his arm as a kid while arm wrestling one of his dad's friends, and he attributes part of his success to his arm healing stronger than before the break. Charles Darwin and Stephen Irwin had the same pet turtle. Guess it was a win-win situation. The northeastern coast of the United States has a particularly high number of polydactyl cats. This is because they were considered good luck on ships. So, when sailors settled down on land, so did the cats. This is partially correct. They were considered far better mousers, and with rat problems on ships, they were prized. This led to higher rates in those particular areas. Tom Cruise was first pick for Ironman. Also, Michael Jackson almost owned Marvel. Not only that, Jackson's plan was to make a Spider-Man movie that he starred in. The average human body contains enough iron to make a 3-inch nail. And you need about 400 humans to literally make a sword out of the blood of your enemies. Captain Crunch's full name is Horatio Magellan Crunch. Parrots live for decades, and some types can live to be over 80 years old. My mom has a Quaker parrot. It's going to outlive her. I hate that freaking bird. J.R.R. Tolkien wrote many of the Oxford English Dictionary's definitions of words beginning with W. My favorite is walrus. Noun. A large gregarious marine mammal related to the eared seals, having 2 large downward pointing tusks and found in the Arctic Ocean. Example sentences. Another fun fact, the first dictionary, alongside having many errors, was full of joke definitions. The one that sticks out to me was one of the example sentences being something along the lines of an example of hard work would be trying to compile every word into a book. Donald Duck's full name is Donald Fauntleroy Duck. His hat is a Fauntleroy hat. Lobster used to be so plentiful that people got disgusted eating it and considered it as only worthy of prisoner food and animal feed. It sucked because they ground it up with the shell and all. The 1926 World Series ended in Game 7 when a runner was thrown out trying to steal second base. The runner, George Herman Babe Ruth, was known by many for his ability to hit a baseball really far and was not known for his speed, and the attempt was ill-advised to say the least. When asked about it, Ruth said, "I thought I'd catch them off guard. My son has this problem, but I wanted to steal." In late April 1986, all the nuclear power plants across Europe seemed to experience radiation leaks at the same time as their radiation alarms went off. This turned out to be the first hint in the West of the Chernobyl disaster, news of which the Soviet Union had taken steps to suppress. That's fascinating. The unofficial anthem of American baseball, "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," is traditionally sung during the middle of the 7th inning. It was written in 1908 by Jack Norworth and Albert von Tilzer, both of whom had never been to a baseball game. Jesus, they literally are asking you to take them to a ball game. What crap friends they had. Alaska is 425 times the size of Rhode Island, but Rhode Island has like 1.5 times the population of Alaska. Can confirm, I'm Alaskan, there is no one else here, and by no one, I mean I can walk out into the busiest street in Anchorage, hold my arms straight out, and turn around in circles and I wouldn't touch anyone, but I would get struck by oncoming traffic and emergency vehicles wouldn't show up for a good half hour. I changed deodorants today. Old Spice was giving me rashes, so now I use Speed Stick. We'll see how it goes. Old Spice gives me rashes too. I thought I was the only one. Assuming the average human dong and its conformity to the moisture sensitivity levels. Length L equals 6 inches equals 15.24 centimeters. Temperature for combustion equals Tx equals 1255 K. Air temperature equals TINF equals 288 K. Specific heats. Cp equals 1.004 kJ kg. K. Cv equals 0.717 kJ kg K. Also assuming that the foreskin can be treated as an adiabatic surface. TXTINF equals 1 plus gamma 1, 2m squared. This gives us m equals 4.1, which when lazy results in a velocity of 1394.32 ms. Considering the most effective point along the dong for combustion being x equals 2/3L. W equals VXR equals 1394.32 0.1. W equals 13,943.2 rads. The dong would catch fire at approximately 133,139 revolutions per minute. Thanks, that was fun. The town of Middlesboro, Kentucky is built in an asteroid crater. Ellen from spin class is getting a rice cooker. Way to go, Ellen. You just can't beat the convenience. The inventor of the Q-tip was originally going to call them baby gays. Learned this from VH1's pop-up video. Fremdscham is a German word that means to feel shame or embarrassment because someone else did something embarrassing. It's that cringe feeling you get in some comedies. For example, I experience Fremdscham quite badly, which is why I don't enjoy shows like The Office. Shel Silverstein wrote Boy Named Sue. Johnny Cash took the poem and made it a song. Learned that in this sub yesterday. Led Zeppelin intentionally misspelled lead as lead. They were concerned that lead would be pronounced like the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead to the Cavs rather than lead like there's too much lead in the water supply. The myth that carrots improve eyesight began during World War II, when the British Air Force started shooting down more German planes during night raids. They put it into the press that the British discovered that carrots improved their night vision to explain the increase in their defense ability. The British didn't find out that carrots help eyesight. They discovered radar. Carrots are a good source of vitamin A. The lack of vitamin A in diet is also a contributing factor to night blindness. If you add up all the coins and notes of UK currency, it adds up to £88.88. Ralph Macchio is now older than Pat Morita was during the filming of Karate Kid. Serif fonts like Times New Roman are easier to read as body text, but in sans serif like Helvetica is easier to read in graphics and tables. Arial takes up a lot more space than many other fonts, but Arial Narrow is pretty efficient with space. When you're half the age of your biological parents, that is the age that they had you at. Had to think about that one for a second. That's awesome. That whatsoever is one word. I have a rather inclusive definition of fun. There's a species of carpenter and that, as a last resort attack, can make its head explode, spraying a sticky, corrosive glue in all directions. There's an alleged state of war that lasted 335 years and 19 days, aptly called the 335 Years' War between the Dutch and an archipelago off the coast of southwest England called the Isles of Scilly. What's more, there were no casualties during this war, because the Dutch forgot that they were at war with the Isles. It wasn't until a Scilly historian contacted the Dutch about the war in 1985, and received the information that the war was still technically ongoing, that a peace treaty was signed in 1986. The legitimacy of the war is disputed, due to, for example, doubts over the legitimacy of the Dutch declaration of war on Scilly, which is why it's defined as an alleged state of war. Whaling is illegal in Oklahoma. If you aren't from the US and or don't know the geography of the country, please familiarize yourself with Oklahoma's place on a map. Also, Joseph Stalin was at one point a romantic poet. Upon his first wife's death, he said something along the lines of "with her dies my last warm feelings for humanity." He wasn't kidding. In 1973, a guinea pig named Randy broke out of his enclosure and into a female one and impregnated more than 100 of them. My man. Camels' thick hair is for insulation against heat, and if you shave them, they sweat 50% more to compensate. This sparks a question why and when some dude thought it was a good idea to shave a camel so that this fact could be found out. The word bed is shaped like a bed. Shark, llama. Female ferrets can literally die if they go into heat and don't mate. They will also die if you frick them. A Mormon pirate king was assassinated in my grandmother's backyard, which is coincidentally a beach. When you get winded from getting hit hard and can't breathe, it's actually the temporary paralysis of the diaphragm. This is due to phrenic nerves losing the ability to innervate the muscle for a short period of time that happens to feel like forever. Did you know that catfish are the only animals that naturally have an odd number of whiskers? In Lake Superior on the island of Isle Royale is Siskiyou Lake, which contains several islands, including Ryan Island, the largest, which contains Moose Flats, a seasonal pond, which contains Moose Boulder. When Moose Flats is a pond, Moose Boulder becomes the largest island in the largest lake on the largest island in the largest lake on the largest island in the largest lake in the world. Mantis shrimp have 16 color receptive cones in their eyes. Humans only have 3, so basically they can see millions of colors that our brains aren't capable of processing. Honey never spoils. It's eternally edible. Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here sessions. Barrett visiting Abbey Road Studios on the 5th of June 1975. Barrett had one noted reunion with the members of Pink Floyd. In 1975, during the recording sessions for Wish You Were Here, he attended the Abbey Road session and announced and watched the band working on the final mix of Shine On You Crazy Diamond, a song that happened to be about Barrett. By that time, the 29-year-old Barrett had become quite overweight, had shaved off all of his hair, including his eyebrows, and his ex-bandmates did not at first recognize him. Barrett's behavior at the session was erratic. He spent part of the session brushing his teeth. Roger Waters finally managed to ask him what he thought of the song, and he simply said sounds a bit old. He briefly attended the reception for Gilmore's wedding to Ginger that immediately followed the recording sessions. However, he left early without saying goodbye. You have been visited by the typo dog. He will protect you from all typos in the next 24 hours. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day, you magnificent people.